It's AI week at AppSumo, and that means there's a ton of brand new AI related tools available at their marketplace. There's some old favorites as well, like Letterly, Deposit Photos, and RoboMotion, but today I'm going to focus on one of the brand new deals, MolyPix. MolyPix is like an AI graphic designer. You simply prompt it for a design and it creates it for you. Sounds a lot like using image generation in ChatGPT, right? Well, wrong, because unlike ChatGPT, there's an edit button, and when you click it, it opens up in a Canva-style editor where everything's on its own layer, so you can make further alterations to the image. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing MolyPix, and I'll show you what I like as well as what I think needs a little bit more work. If you want to grab your own lifetime deal of MolyPix, I'll have a link down below in the description, or you can just click over using that link to shop at AppSumo and see what all the fuss is about for AI Week. I also am giving away a free license for MolyPix, something I've never done before on this channel, and it's thanks to the sponsor of today's video, AppSumo. The details for the contest will be in the description, so make sure you get signed up. Now, let's check out MolyPix over on AppSumo before we go through a tutorial of the entire product. Here's MolyPix over on AppSumo. We'll get into more of the details of the plans and pricing later on in the video, but I did want to point out that it's currently in early access, which means you need to be an AppSumo Plus member to buy it today. This tool will be available going forward after AI Week is over, so if you don't want to sign up for AppSumo Plus, well, I'd reconsider that stance, but for some reason you don't, you can always pick this up next week, but it'll probably have a little bit of a price increase. All right, onward. Here is MolyPix, a nice, clean, simple user interface. I like what I'm seeing here. This is the home screen, and we'll just explore this a little bit. So the main feature of MolyPix is going to be this design GPT, where you simply just prompt it with what you want designed, and it does it for you. But there's some other ways to utilize the tool as well. So down below, we have a template system, just like you'd find on Canva. Most of the templates honestly look pretty good. Now, a lot of the imagery you're seeing is obviously generated using AI, right? You can tell some of these just kind of scream AI, but a lot of them are really nice looking as well. So we've got different categories here, like different types of posters, there's invitations, and some social media posts. But I really wouldn't come to MolyPix for the templates. You want to come here because it's got this really cool, AI design function. That's really the sweet spot. There's also all of these AI apps, which are essentially like AI editing tools. So you can use any image inside of MolyPix to, let's say, expand an image, like generative fill. You can do magic editing, magic erasing, or even old photo restoration. It doesn't have to start with the design you created inside of MolyPix. Again, we'll get into all of that, but let's start with the meat of the matter, which is the design GPT. So even this, there's a few different ways to use it. Of course, you can just type whatever you want, like design a poster for my coffee shop to announce our half-price iced teas from 2 to 4 p.m. Now I can click enhance prompt here, and it's basically going to make like a Mad Lib where it's going to go through and try to find the right type of template. And as you can see here, there's basically like some blanks that I can fill in order for it to create the design for me. Here we can read through this and say, create a poster for a coffee shop to announce half-price iced teas from 2 to 4 p.m. And then here's where I can kind of tweak things to maybe get my results to be more on point with the very first attempt. Create eye-catching graphics of iced tea glasses and bold typography. Use refreshing colors like blue and green. So I can modify any of these blanks if I wanted to, but I think it looks pretty good, so I'm just going to hit generate. And this is going to take 4 AI tokens, and with the plan that I'm on from AppSumo, I get 500 per month. So you can see I'm going to go from 505. They give you a 20 to start with, so I started with 520. I'm going to go from 505 down to 501. So let's hit generate, and we'll see the results here. Now I'm just going to let this run in real time, no editing, so you can see kind of how fast everything generates. It's really generally pretty fast. I would say roughly 20 to 30 seconds to do the generation. And for the 4 credits, I'm also going to get 4 different variations. You can see the placeholders here. I'll have some images to choose from, so it's not like just here's your design, you're stuck with it. You do get some options. All right, so this is currently generating. It says enjoy a variety of effects, talking a little bit about what there is to offer. And there we go. Here is our templates that I'm free to modify. So there's both a remix as well as an edit button here. If I liked where something was going, but maybe just wanted to, change the overall look of things, like personally, blue iced tea looks kind of gross. So I would probably want to redo these. So let's click remix right here. And now I've got the same prompt up here, and I could just remove the blue color And I'll replace that with yellow. Let's do yellow and green. Now, over to the right here, I've got my brand kit already set up. I'm going to turn that off. We'll cover that a little bit later on. But a brand kit is essentially a way for your logo and your brand colors to automatically make it into your designs without having to choose them every single time. Okay, let's go ahead and hit generate. Now, that does use 4 more credits, so you can see you can burn through some credits kind of quickly here, but they do refresh every single month. All right, I'm getting my results back right now. They're looking a lot better. I've got some green iced teas, which kind of look cucumbery. Yeah, in fact, there's maybe some limes or cucumbers or something in there. But overall, I like these designs a lot better. And you can see that because I remixed that one template, the overall layout is very, very similar with the copy and everything kind of all looking the same. I'm gonna go ahead and edit this one. How about this one right here? I think that looks the best. The drinks look the tastiest. So we'll click edit right here and it's gonna pop us right into their editor. Now I've got a bunch of effects I can use. You can see AI editing is selected over here, but I can also just click on any of the elements and make changes right here, like half price refreshing iced teas. I kind of wish that was all on one line. So let me just do that. So half price iced tea. And then just like Canva, I can resize this and it's going to shrink down the text as well. I'll make it a little bit wider so it all fits on one line. I'll replace that with join us for happy hour. And then I'll say every Tuesday rather than today. All right, I just want to line up this text. It's a little bit off. So as I move it over, you can see the grid shows up here to just kind of lock things in. So I've got a nice sharp line on the left, and that's looking pretty good. I could print that out, hang it in the wall of my fake coffee shop, and hopefully get some sales in during a slow time. Now, my options for actually utilizing this are right up here where it says download. I can click on that. It's just going to download the image. And if you're curious about resolutions and all of that, it downloads as a 1080 by 1920 image, PNG quality. So, it would probably be okay for print, but if you're going to do it really large, it might not be the highest resolution. You might want to upscale it, which, by the way, you can do entirely inside of the app. I would go right over here to where it says resize and set the size of the canvas first. So right now it's set to be 1080 by 1920, but let's say I wanted to do, how about 4x that? So here we go. I have 4x'd everything. Now we're at 3220 by 7680. This will make it so I can print this and hang it on my wall a lot easier. I've got magic resize on, which is going to proportionally resize all of the elements on the screen as well. So I'll hit resize and it looks like nothing changed, but my image is actually a lot larger. So just for comparison, the old image is 1.5 megabytes and this one is 12, which means I'll be able to print it very large. But I do have some issues in that the image itself is now a little bit blurry because AI didn't generate it to be quite so large. What we can do is actually use one of the AI editing tools to enhance it. So right over here, it says AI tools, and I'll just select the part of the design that I want to enhance. And now I can do the upscaler, which is going to make this a super resolution. All right, so I've hit generate here. It is currently processing the image, should make it a lot sharper. It does give you a little before and after here, so you can swipe through and see the changes that were made. Make sure that they're something you want to live with. And if they are, you can go ahead and hit apply. It's going to automatically update the image in your design. And now if you download it, the new higher resolution should look a lot better. Now that's just one of the AI tools. We'll check out some others later on. But first, let's complete a little tour here of the editor. It honestly feels very familiar if you've used other online editing type of tools. So not a whole lot necessarily needs to be said, but we do have effects up here where we can basically do some filters or make some manual changes using some sliders. We can apply masks. This is a really nice implementation of this type of feature. Masks can be kind of confusing in more complex applications like Photoshop, especially for non-designers. So if you want to add, let's say, rounded corners or a circle to an image, you can just simply choose the image and then click on the circle, and then here it will be rounded. So there we go, a nice little oval shape. It's an oval because the image itself wasn't square to start with. I could always crop it first and then apply the mask. So we'll just hit undo here and do exactly that. And if I just double click on the image, it's gonna pop me open into a little crop tool. And here's one small critique I have. There's no real way to see the dimensions or the size of each side. So if I want this to be a perfect square, I'd love to know exactly how many pixels I was at right now. Typically, you can hold down like the shift key in a lot of tools, and that will conform it to be a square. But in this case, it's actually conforming it to be the original perspective as I move it around. So yeah, I don't see a way to actually perfectly make make this a square, you kind of just have to eyeball it best you can. You can move the image around inside of the crop as well. I'm going to try to get this as square as I possibly can. And then if I just click away, it will have cropped the image. I can then, of course, reposition it and drop my mask in, and it's gonna look a lot more like a circle. Not half bad. All right, so we've seen some of the AI tools. There's also the text tool over here where you can use some of their templates or add in titles, subtitles, and text, just like you do in Canva. You've got your media over here where you can upload images. We'll take a look at that later on. I've got a few things to say about it. We've got our elements over here, which are kind of like their included stock media. We've got stickers, sketches, yeah, just a lot of different icons, shapes. You can upload images right through this interface as well. The images section is powered by Unsplash, so you don't have to go out to any other libraries if you're happy with what you find on Unsplash. That's a nice integration. And then there is a dedicated background section, which is great. So if I wanted to change the background of my image, I can simply click right here. I will delete the background that's already there, and you can see how beautiful my design is with their new background. Okay, so it needs a little bit of work. You can't really read that. But that one's not half bad. I could kind of center that up and it would look pretty good. Yeah, there we go. I definitely don't mind that at all. So yeah, tons of nice looking gradients here. Of course, you can also just choose flat colors if that's your preference. I really like the fact that there's a dedicated background section. That's something I just complained about in another review that I did. So happy to see that here. There's also a dedicated layers tab, which is fantastic. Canva has this, but it's kind of buried. You have to click on a menu item and then it's another item over to the left in order to get to this. But here it is right here, all of the different layers that were created automatically for us from a single AI prompt. Very, very impressive. Okay, so that's the editor. Now let's dig a little bit more into some of those AI tools. In this case, I'm gonna do it right inside of the apps section. This is outside of their editor, but a lot of the same tools are available inside of the editor. I just wanted to show you background removal. I think that's a very common request. So here are the tools here. We've got Magic Erase, we've got Magic Edit, and here it is, background removal. I'm gonna click here to try it. And now I've got two images that I've actually tried in the past. I'm gonna show you what happened with those. Overall, it's pretty good, but there is one thing you need to know about. Okay, I'm just gonna drag in an image that I got right off of my camera. So it's a nice mirrorless camera, really high resolution. I shot it as a JPEG, so it's not like raw or anything, but it's a fairly large file. So when I exported this from my Photos application, I did it at full size. So not original size, it's a slight bit of extra compression. So if I drag and drop that into the background removal, you're gonna see here it loads up just fine. I can do the background removal. It's gonna cost me one of my AI credits. It's currently generating, goes pretty quick, nice and smooth. You can see the before and after. Does a really good job here. It doesn't really, have any issues even with my hair up here. It gets maybe cleaned up a little bit. It's a little messy. So as I move it, you can see, oh, that hair gets cleaned up just slightly. Overall, not really a negative effect in my opinion. But there is one thing you should know about. That is if I grab the full resolution file off of my camera, things don't go quite as smooth. So here is the full resolution JPEG off of the camera. It's 3.5 megabytes, so not just like massive or anything, but if I drag and drop this in, I get an error saying that it is too large. So I actually had to export at that smaller size, large, which is confusing, but full size did not work, large works. So it's just one extra step for me, which I find irritating. And honestly, I've never had that issue over in Canva. I often use their background removal and it works fine with any file that I add to it. So just a little thing here to know about, definitely something that could be improved on their end in the future. But otherwise, the overall quality of the background removal works really well. Now, of course, you don't have to use the background removal inside of the app section. If you're already working on a design that the GPT designer created for you, you can simply just choose the remove background feature. I'll show you what I mean by creating another design GPT prompt. This one's going to be a poster for my daughter who's entering her competitive dance season, and it's very common for the parents to put together posters for their kids. I'm gonna go ahead and hit generate here. It's gonna create a brand new design for me. Okay, I've got some really nice templates here. Of course, this is not my daughter, but I could easily replace it with a real photo of my daughter. I'm gonna go ahead and choose this one right over here. You know what? Actually, I like this one better. We'll choose this one. I can click to preview it, and let's go ahead and edit it. Now, if I wanted to isolate the background from this photo, I can simply click it right here, and then there is a remove background option. If I click on this, this, it should strip out the background from the image. Now, sometimes this does not work as well from the stock photos. You can see it did pretty good job here with the AI. If we undo this, you're gonna see that her foot was missing to begin with. But let's go ahead and replace this image with a different one, and I'll show you where you could possibly run into some errors. So in the images section here, where this is powered by Unsplash, I'm gonna choose ballet dancer. And here is a nice photo. I'll just drop it in place of that one. It updates the design. You can see we've got the same crop going here. Now, if I wanted to remove the background on this, first of all, it looks like a challenging photo to me because it's not the best exposure. But if I click on remove background, I'm often seeing errors with the Unsplash integration. Yeah, here it is, unknown error. So it tends to happen only with photos that I grab from Unsplash. I can do another one here just to show you. We'll remove the background. And yeah, another error. So for some reason, Unsplash photos not working for background removal. And by the way, if I did want this mask to show the full dancer, I could simply click up here and remove the mask. The AI actually implemented that mask for me. So that's really cool. All right, I've just swapped out the dancer here again. Let's try out a few more of their effects before we head over to the AppSumo deal page and find out what this thing is gonna cost us. So over on AI tools, I can go ahead and choose my image. And from here, we've already seen the upscaler. Let's try the magic eraser. So with the magic eraser, I get this little brush and I can just simply select items to try to remove them from the photo. Now, the only problem I have here is that we don't get a zoom option. So if I really want to get in and get some of these details, it's kind of hard to do so. I can, of course, change the brush size so I don't accidentally, get some of her dress, but it's a little bit difficult. I would love to be able to zoom right in on the photo to be able to get the right areas. But essentially, I want to remove all of those cars in the background. Let's see how well it does. I'm not super optimistic on this, but it'll probably get maybe one or two. That one next to the dress, that has me nervous. You can see there's a little countdown timer here. It takes about 20 seconds to perform this action. All right, and just like before, we've got a little slider and you can see that those cars are completely gone. I think it nailed it. That looks pretty perfect. Let's hit apply. And I really want to zoom in here. I don't see really, maybe they duplicated this pole here. I don't remember if that was in the original or not. It doesn't look like it would have been. But overall, yeah, pretty impressive use of the magic erase. All right, I'm gonna switch gears here and I'm just gonna drag in a photo of the beach here. I think it would look really good if there was maybe a little bit of a sun in the upper left-hand corner. So I'm gonna choose my photo, go over to AI tools, and I'll choose magic edit. Here I can simply select the area where I'd like the sun to be, and then I can type in add some sun. All right, let's see how this goes. This is a pretty challenging thing to do in a real photo because if we add the sun, it's gonna really, change the whole lighting and the perspective of everything. So I'm not expecting that this looks completely authentic, although we do have the shadows kind of going in the right direction to begin with. If I'd asked it to add the sun over here, everything would definitely look a little bit more wonky. All right, well, we got a object added. It's not necessarily the one we wanted as it added the moon up here. So of course we could reprompt this. Now, if I were doing this from scratch inside of an AI editing tool, this would be everything, right? It might have my text and everything right on the one image. So it's nice to have this isolated inside of a larger component where I can simply reprompt the image rather than having to do everything from scratch. All right, take two. Now, unfortunately, it does burn through your credits every time you reprompt things. So you can go through some credits kind of quickly here. I probably would end up shooting for more credits on your AppSumo plan than you necessarily anticipate wanting because, it's just always better to have extra than to run out. And this time it gave me kind of like the moon from Star Wars or something here. What is that? The Death Star, I think, in the sky. All right, so it's struggling by adding the sun, but you definitely get the idea. I can add images to photos, but it might not be the one you want. We'll try one more time here and maybe I'll just do like, how about a beach chair? And this time it totally nailed it. As we see the before and after, there is a beach chair added in this. Pretty good size relationship too, I would say. It's not too large, so pretty impressive. I still have got the Death Star in the sky, so that's a little ominous. All right, there is one more AI tool over here. It's called Expand, and the idea would be to complete something that's out of the frame. Like in this case, I wanted to expand this photo so that maybe it fit a YouTube thumbnail. There's nothing on the sides. I'd either have to make the image just huge in order to fill up the space, or it's just gonna have some blank stuff on the sides. With AI, I can sometimes auto-complete what is in the picture, even though it wasn't captured. However, I'm having trouble with this particular AI tool. It just doesn't do anything for me. me. So basically what I'll do is choose the size that I'd like to fill out, 16 by 9. And if I go ahead and expand this, I'm not really certain what they want me to do. I can say fill out the frame, and essentially nothing happens here. I'm not charged a credit. It just drops the image in and nothing further happens. So I think there is either a bug or the expand function is not currently working as of the time this video is recorded. All right, the only other thing I want to show you quickly here is the brand kits. I alluded to this earlier in the video, but essentially you can go over to brand kits, set up your brand, and it's going to ask you to upload your logo, choose your brand colors, and then when you go to create a design, like here's a poster design, I've got my brand kit options over here. If I leave this toggled on, when it generates the image, it's going to use my logos and brand colors. This would be really great for that coffee shop example I gave earlier because it'll have the name of the coffee shop. I could put my address there if I wanted to. Yeah, just you get the idea. It's going to save you from repetitive steps. So you can see here, it's working a lot of the time. It's got my logo in 3 out of the 4 designs. However, in this one, for some reason, the logo didn't show up. So brand kit works some of the time, but not all of the time. All right, let's see what we're gonna get at AppSumo. So $59 is a little bit misleading of an entry-level price in my opinion, because you don't want that plan. You want at least tier 2. That's gonna unlock all of the features that you've seen in this video. We don't get all of the prompt enhancements, the brand kits, the custom palettes, the pro templates. None of that's included in tier 1. You're essentially just gonna get the editor with the generations. So yeah, definitely go up to tier 2. That's gonna get you everything you've seen in this video. And if you want even more credits, you can get tier 3, 3,000 credits. Now, you can buy this with my link in the description, or you can get signed up for my contest where I'm actually giving away MolyPix at the end of the week. So this contest will be run pretty quickly. Get signed up today to have the best chance at winning. Overall, I think MolyPix is a very appealing alternative to Canva. It's certainly compelling to pay once for it rather than monthly or annually with Canva. But I do think with Canva, they're a pretty big company at this point. They're adding a lot of features all of the time. So you'll definitely want to keep your eye on what the rest of the marketplace is doing as well. For me, using MolyPix was really enjoyable. Most of the time, everything worked properly, but there were a few issues like the background removal inside of the Unsplash photos not working, and a few of the other little bugs like the expand feature not doing what I expected, or maybe not being operational at all. But otherwise, the features in the editor were some of the best that I've seen in any of these LTD image editors. And the design prompting works really, really smoothly. Very impressive how they've been able to implement that with their templating system. Definitely a big thumbs up from me on that one. So I'm gonna go ahead and give MolyPix a 7.9 out of 10. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new around here, get subscribed. Drop me a comment down below if you've got any questions or just for the algorithm. It's very much appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.